Hi, thank you for joining me again for another process video, and today I've pulled out my Celes Gonzalo Rainbow Avenue again. When I had this out the other day, I noticed that I had these three circular elements that I cut out on a previous video. It's on my channel from a couple of months ago, and I thought I would use these. I'd use the reverse circle technique on that layout where you cut the circles out and then layer up the papers so that it looks like it's going inwards. So this time I'm using those circular pieces to come outwards on the page, if that makes sense. So I wanted to use white cardstock and then add a border around the edge. So I'm using this beautiful polka dot paper, and I'm just going to gut the inside because I definitely want to have this for future layouts. But I thought this would work really nicely. And the photo is of my daughter, my niece and nephew walking up the path in Herm as we were going home back in 2019 on our family holiday. So we're just walking down to the little boat that takes us across to Guernsey. So I'm distressing all the edges of this cardstock before I get it stuck down onto that polka dot paper, and then I can start building up the layers. Almost there. It doesn't take long with this Tim Holtz edge distresser. And then using my ATG to get this stuck down. And I just have to be careful when sticking it down that I get it relatively central. Distressing the edges helps hide when it's not quite straight, but it does look odd if it's not straight. So I'm going to distress all the edges of the circles as well. I won't make you watch that. And they're going to be layered down from the smallest one on top to the largest one underneath, and all justified to the right so that they're not directly on top of one another. They're aligned to the right there. So just going to stick these three circles together. I do want to add some mixed media but onto the page, so I'm just going to stick these together before I continue with that. And the photo I want to add onto a white cardstock just to create that boundary and make it stand out a little bit against all the patterns. So just bringing in my little Tim Holtz guillotine. I love this guillotine, it's brilliant for smaller work. And there we go. So first of all, I'm going to look through the sticker sheet and see what I can see. Straight away I see this beautiful butterfly, which works really nicely with the photo as they're walking through the trees. And then I wanted to add some florals around the bottom left-hand corner. So just pulling out some of the floral pieces from that sticker sheet. You saw the first piece was actually a bouquet of flowers, but I've just hidden the cone that the bouquet sits in behind the photo. You'd never know. So now onto the foam stickers, and I find this lovely butterfly, and I think that will add height, and it will also help to give height to the stickers. So I just pop that ever so slightly over the photo and tuck it under that yellow flower so that that gets a little bit of height and dimension on the page as well. So now I'm going to come in with my pencil and just draw a faint line inside the circle so that I know where to put my mixed media. And I'm just going to do some ink blending today. So first of all, I'm pulling out bundled sage. I think it's bundled sage. Yes, and using a blending brush to go all the way around that circle. It looks very patchy there, but it's not. It's not in real life. I think it dries a bit paler and works really nicely. And then I'm coming in with speckled egg and just adding that around the edge of the green. So it just creates a beautiful halo around that circle. So I wanted to bring in some of the green elements which you don't really have in Rainbow Avenue. So I pulled out these 49 and Market die cut pieces that I treated myself to a couple of months ago, and these work perfectly with the greens in the photo. So first of all, I'm pulling out the leaves and just tucking those in behind those floral pieces. So I'll get those glued down. And I really like how that's looking. Just going to add some foam pads behind a few bits just to provide a little bit of height and dimension, which is what I'm always after on my pages. And then just looking to see what else I can find. I find a little butterfly which will work nicely with that other one, and it's just bringing the green up to the top of the page there. So again, adding some foam behind one of the wings and sticking the other wing down on that circle, just so it looks like it's flying. And then I'm ready to stick the circle down before I go any further. So just checking that that photo is straight on there, and then getting that wing stuck down again. So this is where I spot this lovely large piece, and I'm just going to carefully pull it off. These are laser cut, so they have little notches that keep them in the pack. So you just have to be a little bit careful pulling them off. And I'm going to create a nice cluster down the bottom left-hand corner there, using this as my anchor. So I overlap onto the frame just to make it all as one piece. And I am going to add more pieces to that, but for now I want to add my title under my photo. So pulling out the alphabets from the collection, and I'm just spelling out Herm. There aren't any numbers in this, and I hadn't realised that when I started. I really wanted to put Herm 2019. So I add the word Herm, and then I pull out some LE Studio Gold alphabets, and I'm just going to put 2019 next to the word Herm, but it feels unbalanced. So in the end, I check and realise that I do have all the letters to spell out August, so I add August to the left-hand side of the word Herm, and that looks really nice on the page. I was thrilled how that turned out. Now these letters are a little bit older, and I find that I do have to add some glue just to make sure that they're stuck to the page, so I will do that afterwards. So just checking that everything's straight, and then adding my journaling underneath, just faint pencil lines, and then I write it in a black gel pen. And then coming back into the foam stickers to see what else I can add to that left-hand cluster. So I find a lovely banner piece that says this moment, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of the florals. Oh, I do also find this cute circular piece that I add to that cluster, and that just, again, it just lifts everything up and looks really nice there. And then there's this moment piece. And then into the ephemera pieces, and I find this cute little trainer because they're walking. I thought that worked nicely there. Just fills in that gap beautifully. So just tuck that in. And then I also find this lovely camera, the blue camera, that works beautifully with that cluster on the left-hand side. So that finishes that bit off really nicely. So just adding some glue now. I've got it tucked into place. And then from the 6x12 stickers, I find this little word that says hello, so I'm going to add that to that cluster. And then I'm using one of the tabs from the 49er Market die cuts to bring that green up to the top there. And I'm just going to stick that down and then add the date with my roller date stamp. And you can see to the left of the screen, I've already pulled out my gold watercolour paint, and I'm just going to add a few gold watercolour splatters to the various embellishment clusters that I've got on the page. Couldn't think of the word then. And that finishes it off nicely. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this process, and I hope it's encouraged you to pull out your Rainbow Avenue collection. It really is very beautiful. Thanks again. Bye.